Today we are talking about the Yankees bullpen, a major problem in 2025 and probably the reason that they didn't claim home field advantage in the playoffs. They didn't win the American League East. We're going to talk about Luke Weaver, Devin Williams, whether or not they'll be back, and some major targets for the Yankees. Plus, should Don Mattingly come back to the Yankees? He has stepped down from his role with the Blue Jays, and he is looking for his next job. I got a good idea where he could find one. Got Frankie Baseball on the show coming up next. This is Pinstripe Territory.
Just wanted to talk, that's all.
All right. Welcome back, everybody, and welcome back to Mr. Frankie Delano Baseball. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, Derek. I'm happy to be here, although I will say I wish we still had more baseball. I know that, it's supposed to end, but after that World Series and after that Game 7, I just wanted more of it. It was such an unbelievable – we didn't get to talk about it here at the end of the series yet, but I thought it was just an absolutely thrilling Game 7 and just a great advertisement for the sport of baseball.
Yeah, let's hope we have baseball in 2027, as you said to me privately. But, all right, so we got some news. We're going to talk through Loaizaga's career coming to an end with the Yankees. We're going to talk about Luke Weaver, whether or not he should come back. We're going to talk about Devin Williams, whether or not he should come back. We're going to take a look at the metrics for Edwin Diaz, for Pete Fairbanks, for Raisel Igelesias, for Ryan Helsley, and for Robert Suarez, several names that the Yankees have been linked to this winter. And we'll just kind of talk it through and see who makes sense for the Yankees. They've also got a prospect. Brian Bashman keeps bringing him up. We're not going to talk about him this episode, but I promise we are going to talk about him during an upcoming episode about prospects. Harrison Cohen, a potential arm out of the pen. But anyway, let's go ahead and let's start with Jonathan Loaizaga. Salute. 21-gun salute. Pass one around and pour it out for Johnny Lasagna, who was cooked. The Yankees declined his option. It was only $5 million. But here's the thing. He can't stay healthy. He's a likable guy. The radar looks good, approaching triple digits. But Frankie, he just can't stay healthy.
That's really, what do they say? The best ability is availability. And that has been Lasagna's biggest issue over the last few years. It's an utter shame because he was great to watch for the Yankees for a long time there. But unfortunately, the injuries just killed him. Although, he's just one of those guys that he'll just go to a team next year and all of a sudden the arm will be magically healed and he's going to go on and have an all-star season next year. It just seems like he's one of those people. I hope not, because I would hate to, see him thrive when he's not with the Yankees, because it's just sad.
I'm going to go the other direction. I hope he does rebound and have a good season. I just hope it's not with like an AL East rival or whatever. Like if he goes to, Texas or Colorado or, like if he goes out west, pitches for San Francisco again, and he pitches well, more power to him. I like him. He was always one of my favorite pitchers to watch when he was healthy. But the problem is just that he's too small. He's a small guy and he throws 100. That puts so much strain on the body. So pour one out for Johnny Lasagna. Let's talk about some options to return to the Yankees bullpen internally. Let's begin with Devin Williams.
For you.
31 years old, 67 games this year, 62 innings, 90 strikeouts. So the strikeout numbers were good. Somehow, Frankie, I was surprised by this. Only 4 official blown saves. I don't know how that's. I thought it would have been more like 15, 16. ERA 4.79. He did have 18 saves. The main question I have for you, Frankie, is would you rather, A, bring Devin Williams back to be the closer next year, or B, be kidnapped by a copycat of John Wayne Gacy, tortured and buried in his basement? Those are your two options. Which would you choose?
How long would Gacy torture me?
Indefinitely. To his own amusement.
Oh, yeah, Gacy, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. Not even a debate.
Yeah. Look, he's. I don't think there's any chance he comes back, but we had to cover it because there's people talking about, well, he pitched well in the second half. I looked through his numbers. He did not pitch well in the second half. He had some streaks in the second half, but overall, he was pretty much bad in every month except June. I thought he definitely got some big outs down the stretch, but that doesn't make up for the miles that he took off of all of our, lifespans. I guess those are two different units of measurement. He ruined my brain with how badly he pitched. So Devin Williams, let's pour one out for him. And for those of you listening, that is not Dreamweaver. That was Nightmare on Elm Street. We've got Luke Weaver becoming a free agent this winter. Frankie, where do you stand on Weaver? He had 64 appearances, 3.62 ERA. I thought he pitched really well before the hamstring injury, but for whatever reason, after the hamstring injury, he never got it together. They were talking about how he was trying to make some adjustments that the pitching staff was wanting him to make, and he just wasn't able to get it together in time, and then he stunk in the playoffs. So obviously a hero in 2024, but garbage this year.
Yeah, I'm hoping he comes back because I think he's still fixable. I was actually at his first game back from the hamstring injury, and I remember when he was coming out of the dugout, or I remember thinking, is this too soon? It just feels like maybe we should have waited. And then, of course, that night he gave up a home run. I think it was to Baltimore. It was, and he gave up a home run there, and he gave them the lead. And yeah, it just never really settled in. I'm willing to give him another chance. If you can give him another offseason and you can get that hamstring to rest and you can get him in a better mindset, I hope that he can return back to 2024 Weaver here. I don't know how you feel if you want to bring him back, but I'd be happy to. I mean, with the right price, of course, but I'd be more than happy to bring him back for another year.
Well, I'm kind of undecided. What I want to do is take a look at all of the available options, right, and see if we can come up with the best bullpen. I'm not against Luke Weaver as much as I'm against bringing back Devin Williams or Jonathan Loaizaga, because he showed it this year for a couple of months, right? And it was that injury that seemed to me like the breaking point for his season. Like he just wasn't the same after that. I agree with you. Maybe a winter of just doing yoga with Giancarlo Stanton somewhere, gets those hammies a little bit more flexible. But also there was the mechanical stuff that he was working on. He wasn't able to get it. So obviously the Yankees see something that needs to change, and he wasn't able to change it. So that leads me to believe that they probably won't bring him back. But I'd have no issue with him coming back on like a 1-year deal. Problem is I think he'll get 2 years somewhere. I think somebody's going to be willing to go to that extra year, and I don't think it's going to be the Yankees. So let's take a look at some options here. Edwin Diaz, you said in the green room, one of the few bright spots for the Mets this year, and I went on a little mini rant about how happy I was that the Mets didn't make the postseason. I wish we were recording for that, but oh well. Do you think that he would leave the Mets? He's been with them for a while now, since 2019. He's 31 years old. 3 WAR this year. He had 98 strikeouts and 66 in the third inning, so he was basically Devin Williams level strikeouts, but with a much lower whip, 0.874 and a 1.63 ERA. Obviously, he'd be very expensive. He opted out because he thinks he can get more. What are your thoughts on Edwin Diaz probably getting north of $20 million from the Yankees?
Edwin Diaz, I was thinking about this, is was kind of the Devin Williams of his time in that he comes to New York and his first year, he was awful. And Met fans just couldn't wait. He blew so many saves for them. Mets fans wanted him out. And then he was able to turn it around after that. He regrouped and he'd become an unbelievable closer for them. So he's kind of like the best case scenario for Devin Williams. But again, I think we don't think Devin Williams is coming back. So, but it's something that it's interesting to think about how his turnaround was so impressive and how great he's been for them for, since then. I'd love to have him back. The problem is I feel like, again, I think it's going to be about money. And I am not confident in going up in a bidding war with Steve Cohen. I've seen this movie before, and I didn't like the ending. So I'm not optimistic about that. But if you can get him as a closer or setup man, because I'm assuming Bednar would become setup and Diaz would become closer if that was the case.
Yeah, that's where I would go.
Yes, I'd be more than happy to. Even though I love Bednar, I'd be more than happy to move him out. And that's a pretty unbelievable combination of Bednar and Diaz if we can get them both working there. So I would go for it, but he's going to be expensive, and I don't know if the Yankees are going to be willing to pony up for that much money.
Yeah, and here's the thing. If the Yankees have $70+ million coming off the books, right, some of that's going to go towards a center fielder, and we'll talk about Trent Grisham. They offered him a qualifying offer earlier. He's got a few days to accept it or reject it. But either Bellinger or, Tucker as a corner outfielder possibly, that leaves some money for pitching. I think their rotation, despite some injuries, is pretty good, and they've got some guys who can maybe step in. I mean, Cole probably not going to be ready to begin the season. Rodon maybe not ready to begin the season, but this does not warrant spending $20 million on a pitcher. These guys will be back after, missing a few weeks probably. But I think that they might spend in the relief category, and I could see them going out and getting a lockdown closer, because if you look at the way the postseason kind of shook out, some of these games, you don't have the extra inning ghost runner or whatever. They went really long. They were really high stress. You need those dominant innings. I mean, you saw Yamamoto pitching on back-to-back days, right? You saw Tyler Glasnow pitching on back-to-back days. Teams just ran out of pitching. I could see the Yankees going for a lockdown type of closer. Hoffman. Look what Hoffman did. He couldn't close out the game. You got to have that guy. Bednar's good, and I'd be comfortable with Bednar in that position, but I'd be more comfortable if I had two guys, Diaz and Bednar. And then, maybe, one of the younger guys steps up, like a Harrison Cohen, or, maybe we get a Carlos Lagrange who throws 100 to come in and be the new Joba. But I like Diaz, and I think the Yankees should explore this for the right price. There's another player I want to talk about, though. I want to get your thoughts on, Frankie. And this is Robert Suarez. So let's go ahead and share his screen. The Yankees have already been linked to this guy. 2.97 ERA, pretty good metrics across the boards. 34 years old, pitched with the Padres. What are your thoughts on Robert Suarez?
I don't know much about him. Obviously, they're in San Diego. Didn't get to watch a lot of San Diego Padres baseball this year because they weren't in the postseason. But you look at his stats there. Look at his high fastball velocity there, high strikeout percentage rate, high walk rate, good pitching run value. All the stats that we could use here. What did you say? He was 31 years old? 34
He's 34.
Years old?
He's 34 years old. So he's been up there. So he's not going to command like a 5-year deal. You probably get him for 2 years and a decent price, and he could be a really solid piece to that pen. 40 saves, and a whip under 1. The problem with relievers, though, sometimes is that once they get older, like mid-30s, they drop off a cliff. Like guys like Andrew Miller, right? He just fell off. He was dominant one day, and he was basically gone the next. So it's amazing when guys like Rivera and Aroldis Chapman are able to maintain that high level of pitching until their late 30s or early 40s. Suarez, I don't know if he's built like that, but I can see him getting a 2-year deal.
I'm sorry, you just mentioned Chapman. Why is it that he's so good everywhere else except the Yankees? Why? You brought his name again, and I just got irrationally mad again. Why he's on the Red Sox now? He's like, 2004 Eric Gagne, but with the Yankees, he's blowing saves like there's no tomorrow.
Did you see his quote about the Yankees, about how, like, if he got traded back to the Yankees, he would retire from baseball?
Yeah, and I would retire as a fan if he came back. Like, the idea, Yankee fans do not miss you, buddy. And I don't know why it is that you were so good in Boston, but you were terrible for us for a large portion of your time there, and you blew a couple postseason saves. So we don't miss you. Goodbye. Adios.
Adios, auf Wiedersehen, farewell. Let's talk about Pete Fairbanks. He's got an $11 million option with Tampa Bay. I have not seen the latest if they have exercised that option. As of this morning, they hadn't. So if it happened during today while I was working, forgive us for the being redundant here. But I think
they declined his option. He is now free agent.
Okay. So he is now a free agent. So 31 years old, 61 games, 16 and 3rd innings pitched, 1.2 WAR, 59 strikeouts, 27 saves. He's a great interview. He's been on Foul Territory a few times. He does great like locker room press conferences. He's basically Luke Weaver but with more talent. I think he's a really solid pitcher, and at only 31 years old and having pitched in the American League East, like being familiar with it, I could see him being somebody the Yankees go after. I thought they were going to possibly trade for him. They were linked to him at the deadline. They didn't pick him up. What are your thoughts on Fairbanks?
Yeah, I think he's a great addition for the Yankees as well. I've wanted him too. We all thought he was going to come here. I think, was it last year or earlier this year that they were talking about him in trade and he didn't come here. But yeah, 31 years old. He's got some new pitches. I think he would work great there in Yankee Stadium. You add him to that pen, I think he's going to be terrific there. So you look at him here, 31 years old, 1.2 WAR, 59 strikeouts, 27 saves. As you pointed out, great interview, great personality. You can just feel him fitting in terrifically with that Yankees dugout, or excuse me, clubhouse. The thing about the Yankees is I don't feel like there's not a lot of. I love the Yankees, but there's not a lot of personalities. That's why Schlittler is so interesting right now. Like going after Red Sox fans and Blue Jays fans on Twitter. Now, I mean, he's gonna have to back it up, but he's making things interesting over there, and it's because we hear about it. The Yankees try so hard to keep their guys vanilla, try to keep their guys boring, and he is certainly an outlier, and Fairbanks would be an outlier too. But I think he'd work well. I think Yankee fans would love him right away. So I would love to see him come over here to the Yankees.
Yeah, he's on my off-season wish list for sure. Now let's talk about Raisel Iglesias, sorry, I put an N in there when there's not one. He is a experienced guy. He's 35 years old, 70 games this year. I worry about guys in their mid-30s, pitching over 70 games. That's a lot of games. But 73 strikeouts and a whip below 1, 0.995, 3.21 ERA. He's been with Atlanta since 23. And if you look at his metrics, Frankie, again, off the charts. I mean, fastball run values in the 98th percentile. Well, I shouldn't say off the charts. He's literally on the charts, but the charts are very good for him. He avoids the hard hit balls. He doesn't walk a lot of guys. He's a 4-pitch pitcher. Fastball, changeup, sinker, slider. Frankie, how do you feel about Raisel Iglesias as a potential option?
Very good stats there. As you mentioned, 1.3 WAR last year, 73 strikeouts, 29 saves. One of the, good player on what was a really disappointing Braves team this year. But as you mentioned, 35 years old. I'd lean towards no, just because I feel like this is starting to be the age that guys start to, as you mentioned, to lose it. So I'd be against it. Now, maybe if you can get him for cheap, maybe, but I wouldn't be the one to want to risk that. He's a good pitcher, but I don't want to be the one to risk it going for him for a year when he might be near the start to decline.
Circling the drain there. Another guy who kind of dropped off this year, this is Ryan Helsley. He's a free agent. He got traded to the Mets, and he was terrible with the Mets, but he was okay before that with the Cards. His whip was not good, 1.536. He did have 21 saves this year, which is more than Devin Williams had. I know that he's got fairly decent StatCast numbers as well. I'm going to pull this up. The fastball velo is still 99. He's still got a good breaking ball. He throws that slider. He keeps the ball off the barrel, ground ball percentage. But I worry about guys who don't get it done in New York, right? I mean, the pressure, right? You wonder if that's a thing. Going from St. Louis to New York City, not everybody can do it. Frankie, would you steer clear, or would you maybe take a risk, like a buy low opportunity on Ryan Helsley?
I'd say far, far away from him. Met fans, I have a bunch of Met fans in my life, and they all couldn't say one nice thing about him down the stretch. Just a lot of just terrible performances from him. And you could say that about pretty much every Met, with the exception of maybe like Juan Soto and a couple other guys in that second half. Yeah, I wouldn't. As you said, he's already proven that he can't really play in New York, at least on the Mets side. I don't think that going over to the Bronx is going to change things. So yeah, no. There's other options there. I think we can stay away from him, and let's not risk it.
And I wouldn't rule out a potential trade. The Yankees are known for going to get somebody that we haven't heard of and turning him into a quality pitcher. But they've also tried that with a few guys recently where it didn't work out. Like Scott Efros was somebody they got with plenty of control, and he has not been good at all. So we'll see how it shakes out. Quick word. Hey, just a reminder, get that like on, get that subscribe on, smash those buttons so you can join us for every single episode all year long.
Hey, we've told you about Huel's new Daily Greens ready-to-drink can, but also we do not want to forget about the OG.
Your favorite. You love that chocolate peanut butter flavor.
I do.
You and Kratz love that chocolate peanut butter flavor.
That's my favorite one. Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
The breakdown?
The vanilla, also good, but when they sent me the chocolate peanut butter, it's like a dessert, but it's not.
35 grams of protein, no added sugar, gluten-free for your boy, under $5 per meal, because it's a meal and a drink. 6 grams of fiber, 27 essential vitamins and minerals. Huel makes healthy eating simple. They also just launched into Target stores nationwide. Try both products today with 15% off your purchase for new customers with the exclusive code FOUL at Huel.com/foul. Use that code, fill out the post-checkout survey to help support FT. Get after it, FT fam.
Who wants the mustache ride?
I feel like the people on the podcast did not really appreciate the last minute.
Yeah. I mean, hey, that's how it goes. If you've listened to podcasts, especially this one, you know that occasionally there are ads. That's how we live. We pay for our lives with ads. In this case, from Huel. And I wanted to like pantomime like drinking my Huel bottle, and I was looking for my bottle, but they made the mistake of sending me the chocolate, and so it's gone. Like I don't have the bottles anymore. I recycled them, but delicious. So, Yankees offered Grish $22 million in the qualifying offer. 34 home runs. His metrics improved this year. Solid defender. Do you think he'll take it, or do you think he'll try and go somewhere else and get just as much? Let me ask that a different way. You're Trent Grisham, okay? You have sucked your entire career, except on defense. And then this year you go off and hit 34 home runs, okay? And you got a great mustache. And you're the center fielder for the New York Yankees. If you can do it again, you could probably get more money. Do you gamble on yourself and take the 1 year, knowing that last year you made $5 million? Now you can make more than 4 times as much.
So do you do the one Soto, Aaron Judge, bet on yourself and go for it again? You know what? Yeah, it's hard for me to say that. But yes, if I'm someone with maybe Trent Grisham's mindset and someone who is a professional athlete who always think they can do better, sure, why not? I would take it, but he's probably going to want to maybe look around and see, is anyone out there going to be willing to offer him, a couple more years and a couple? What do you think is like the most he can get? What is like the maximum, the craziest that someone can get for him?
I could see somebody going 4 years, $52 million, right? 17 million, it's less than the 20 he would get this year, but more in total package. That would be basically, I think that's about what Johnny Damon made when he signed with the Yankees, something similar to that. I don't think he's in the $20 million a year category yet because he's only really had that one good year. But I could see somebody giving him 50 spread out over 4. That's what I would.
What do you think?
I'm going to say, who? Ooh, that's a good question. How would he do in San Francisco? It's a big right field. So his power numbers wouldn't play, but he would probably get more doubles, more triples. And he can cover a lot of ground. I could see him going someplace like Texas, maybe. They're going to lose Adolis Garcia. And he could put up some power numbers. They got money to pay, right? Where do you think?
What if Pittsburgh just decides, frick it, we're going to spend all of our money on Trent Grisham, $50 million?
I don't see that happening, Frankie. One more topic we got to cover. Don Mattingly stepped down from his role with the Blue Jays today. And I got to say, the main reason that I was rooting against the Blue Jays was that they celebrated like jerks. But the secondary reason was, though I want Don Mattingly, my hero, my favorite baseball player ever, to win a ring, I want it to be with the Yankees. And I realize that there is no vertical move with the Yankees because, you can't go from bench coach to, he's not going to go from being the bench coach of the Jays to being anything higher than that with the Yankees because he's not going to replace Aaron Boone, right? And there are manager jobs available. The question is he willing to come in and be a bench coach? Is he willing to be a hitting coach? You already have Ralston. Could he help Ben Rice learn how to play first base like he did with Vladimir Guerrero? Does it make sense for him to just be back in the organization, maybe as an understudy of some kind, maybe a special advisor? The Yankees can pay him just as much as he was making with Toronto, right? To be a bench coach, to be like somebody who doesn't work quite as much, right? He's got older kids, like he can watch play ball or whatever. But what are your thoughts on Donnie Baseball coming back?
First of all, he was the main reason why I was rooting for the Blue Jays. I know some Yankee fans might get mad at me for that, but he was the main reason. I wanted him to get a ring, and I felt so heartbroken for him to just fall that short. I think he should. I think it makes all the sense in the world for the Yankees to bring him back for not only his expertise in terms of baseball, but also we've talked about this before, how many Yankee legends have a good relationship with the organization? Not many. Yeah. Like Jeter and A-Rod are on TV ripping Cashman to shreds. Reggie Jackson's over there. It was in Oakland or Houston or something like that. Like they don't have a lot of those legendary guys in there on their team in some capacity. So I think it makes all the sense for a PR standpoint, from just a goodwill standpoint, just to bring Donnie back. I don't think it'll happen, though, because, as we said, for whatever reason, Cashman is just hell-bent on not bringing any of these legends back in any way and alienating them. So I don't think it'll happen, but I think it would be great. Like, what's the worst that can happen? Like, I know that Mattingly doesn't have the best reputation as a manager, and that's what I'm not asking for him to take over as manager, but just having him be part of the team, like, I don't see what the problem is here. I think it's a win-win for everyone.
his leadership skills alone and presence in the clubhouse, I think, makes a real difference, especially with some of the younger guys. We did get one voicemail today, and reminder to call in 718-899-1068. I'm going to try and do more shows here over the next several weeks as we ramp up the hot stove chase. We're going to talk prospects next time, but we got a call here about the World Series.
Hey there, Jason from Allentown. I know you didn't play my last voicemail after the Dodgers won the World Series. That's all right. I get all these baseball content videos all over my YouTube channel, and everybody's saying, oh, this is the greatest World Series. That Game 7 was the craziest Game 7 of all time. And it's like, how quickly do we forget? Like 2016. Like, really? Like, I don't know. 2016.
So he goes on for a little bit while longer about 2016. But yes, I was actually in Chicago. The Cubs won it in Cleveland. But I was in Chicago when that happened, and there were fireworks going off outside my hotel. And it was like one of those work meetings, so we had really good hotel rooms in this nice hotel. And I was looking out over the city, and you could see the fireworks going off. It was like the end of Fight Club. It was cool.
That is so cool, man. Back when he mentioned, like, what are the other great World Series games, that was the first one that came to my mind. I think it's, in my lifetime, I think those are the two. 2016 Game 7, where Cleveland comes back, and then the Cubs win it in the extra innings. And then I would put this one right there. I don't know if it's better than that. I think the Cubs 108 years puts it over the top. But this game had everything, with the home runs, the dramatics, the great plays. The benches cleared. That's what we forgot about.
In a Game 7. Yeah. I mean,
7.
I look,
crazy.
I was loving this game. So I was watching it with my buddy Rob, who was just getting into baseball a little bit. He was not into baseball at all until he stayed with me for a few months last summer, and I kind of taught him about the game a little bit. I mean, if you're living with me, you're going to get some baseball by osmosis, right? It's just because I immerse myself in baseball. And what we did, we set up the TV by the fire, and we just watched the game. And the outside fire, we had the little TV on a cart. And that was generally like one of the more fun sporting events of my entire life, because it just kept going on and on and on. And I mean, you had all these dramatic at-bats and just the way it ended on that double play, just so fun. Yamamoto coming in, he's earned my respect for life, man. I wish the Yankees had gotten him.
Legend. Just an absolutely incredible performance. And the both of those two games that we mentioned have a very similar moment to me, in that the Raji Davis home run and the Miguel Rojas home run, in which I felt like my weird moment where, like, I left my body for a second. Like, it was one of those, like, just crazy, out of control, like, you don't know where you are moments. Like, you're just like, I remember both times screaming, "Oh my gosh, Game 7 of the World Series is tied!" And both are unlikely. I don't know if anyone's expecting Rajai Davis to do it, and no one was expecting Miguel Rojas. Like, with the group that I was with, we were talking during that at bat about, do you walk Ohtani here? Because it was already a foregone conclusion that Rojas was either going to get out or single or not. No one was expecting that home run. But I can't say enough about that game. It was worthy of all the ratings it got, all the acclaim it got. Just absolutely beautiful. I just wish the Yankees were in and have won it, but that's the only nitpick I have.
My final thought on the World Series, the catch the guy made on the Rojas home run, I don't know if you saw the replay. The dude he made
yes.
It was an awesome catch. He reaches over into the pen, he catches it, and he's like, yeah, oh shit. Like, it was the best. He realized, he's like, oh, I caught a ball. Oh, my team just might have blown the World Series.
If he had celebrated there, he may have gotten knocked out. Like, someone may have just punched him in the face. So yeah, that was smart. I noticed that too. Yeah. Oh, never mind.
Yeah. All right, Frankie. We'll see you again throughout the winter. Obviously, everybody, round of applause here for Mr. Frankie Baseball, Franklin Delano Baseball the third, and he'll be back throughout the season. And I'm going to announce this right now, because we've been waiting to announce this. We're going to have a weekly Frankie podcast next year, kicking off beginning of every week of Yankees baseball, and we're going to preview the week ahead, and then we'll have the wrap-up with Terrence at the end of the week. So that's going to be kind of the bookends, my two favorite partners here. And obviously, hopefully, the Yankees will do something this winter to make it worth watching. But we'll see. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this content, please hit that like button and subscribe. Check out nyydesigns.shop for some great merch. Support our sponsors. It helps keep the show going. And you can find us on all major audio platforms, so be sure to subscribe there too. But most importantly, come back again soon. We'll see you next time.